We're going live. We're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Design Thinking Dialogue. These design dialogues, right? Young CXO dialogue, design thinking dialogue. These are super exciting. We all love solving problems, right? As kids, people would throw their rants and be like, "Hey, I have an idea. Hey, I can solve it." It's fun to be solving problems, right? But how about solving them in a more focused way, in a structured way, where we can come up with efficient solutions? Come up with a solution which gets used, right? Solution which people would use without us forcing them to use. How do we do that? User-centric problem solving is what design thinking is about. And today we're going to see two teams who slog it out, while using design-centered, user-centered approaches through design thinking for these problems. So on that note, I'd like to request the teams to quickly go in with your introductions. Who's going first?
Hello everyone, my name is Charishma and I'm a content writer from Team Bolton School.
Welcome, Charishma. Who's going next?
Hi everyone, my name is Kritika. I am an industrial psychologist in Deep Thought.
Thank you, Kritika. Welcome. Who's going next?
Hi, my name is Aryan. I study in Bombay Scottish School in 7.5 grade.
Just 7.5 grade. Okay. 7 3/4 would have been nicer. But anyway, welcome, Aryan. Who's going next?
Yeah, so hi everyone, good evening. I am Umaditya Karn, a content writer from Deep Thought.
Yeah, welcome, Umaditya. Who's going next?
Hello everyone, I am Shivali and I am a content writer at Deep Thought.
Welcome, Shivali.
Hello everyone, this is Raman, a backend developer at Deep Thought who work on innovative projects. Yeah.
Welcome, Raman. Who's going next? Okay, can the you stop and one of you just join? Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Artua and I'm a content writer at Deep Thought.
Okay, welcome, Artua.
Hi everyone, I'm Samida and I'm also content writer at Deep Thought.
Okay, I thought you were into psychology, but anyway, welcome, Samida. Hi everyone, this is Tarun, your moderator for the day, and you can conveniently blame me if this isn't interesting. But I hope I don't have to do much today because the topic is such, right? So on that note, who wants to go in first into the answer box to pitch? Okay, Aryan's hand immediately goes in. Looks like he's super confident today. So over to you, Aryan. No stopping you.
Okay, I'll just share my screen, then Charishma ma'am can continue. Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, so your problem is solved.
Yes. Okay. I'll just quickly shift to this here. You can continue.
Yeah, actually the problem statement we identified is that we are helping the consultants who are new into this industry to cope up with a competitive work environment, also to reach their goals in a faster pace.
Okay.
And this is the data we collected, that the more projects you have in your portfolio, your level will increase and the high package you receive. The observations we made is like client companies will outsource their projects to the consulting companies, and these consulting companies will hire some small teams so that these small teams will have like small in size and they'll have more work, so they'll work overtime to complete the deadline. And this is the data showing that the typically management consultant day starts at morning 8 a.m. and continues up to night 12 a.m. For some it goes beyond 12 a.m. too. And this pie chart is like more than 71.6% people who are just graduating from elite colleges are choosing management consulting services as their profession.
Okay, so reiterating the same problem statement is that in this consulting industry, there are new people who join, right? And the environment is extremely competitive. So they're prone to a lot of work pressure, and we are trying to solve these problems in a very fast and satisfactory manner. So what happens is in this industry, especially for these newcomers, there are quite a lot of misconceptions. Because of this high competition, there are a lot of for example, these newcomers feel the need to say yes to any project that is given to them. And they sometimes forget, they try not to say no to it. And this is due to the competition that's there. Next. So who else is solving this problem is that first thing is they undergo a lot of stress, right? So for this, they can go and get mental health aids from therapists. They can go converse with them. The next one is after the project is done, these consultants, they usually go on for like a vacation. And this is fine, but it's kind of like a short-term solution, and it's not quite long-term. The next one is there are consulting companies like McKinsey who do have people inside the organization itself who help these newcomers with how to handle this work pressure. And the other one is there are companies like PwC again, which provides these kind of benefits like work from home, or they themselves provide mental health programs. They provide like seminars about like wellness and how to handle their work better.
Yeah, I'll just take over from here. So after we had kind of chosen our problem or misconceptions, we came up with several ideas, out of which we picked the first and third one, as you could see. So I'll directly go into the chosen one. So here is that we have a record of all the consultants and the tactics they use to do their work, to monitor their own work, and according to that we let people meet. There's also prototype link if you want to check it out. Then in our implementation process, in the starting, we would first track the progress of the consultants, and after a week or so we let senior consultants tell us what kind of junior consultants they want to meet with. Accordingly we'll set meetings, and after this implementation we got some basic problems. First is like if we help people with the most documentation or hours, we had decided that before, so that would essentially filter people who actually might not need the service as compared to the people who work less hours. And just a quick remark, you might have noticed in the need, finding and diagnosis state with the final diagnosis, we couldn't contact real consultants in the quick time, so it depended on literature reviews regarding these consulting companies. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Aryan. That was a wonderful presentation from three of you. Yeah, over to team. Before that, I think, Aryan, we're breaking the tradition. Both the teams can tell why you chose these names.
Okay, we might go first because we started first. So we picked two names. First is Drucker and Norman. We picked Drucker because Peter Drucker was more relating to strategy, and we could easily relate that to consulting, which was a problem statement. And Norman because we are using design thinking in it, which has its foundations in UX or user experience, and that concept's father was Don Norman.
Interestingly, Aryan, UX father is Norman, and management consulting father is Drucker. Peter Drucker was the one who who popularized what we call management consulting today. So that's a very interesting combination of thought leaders you guys have picked. Appreciate that. Yeah, the other team, if you want to talk about why you chose this name.
Our team's name is Team Florence. It's after you see our project on which we are working, it's related to nursing, and Florence Nightingale is the person who founded modern nursing.
Okay. Thank you for that, Srivali. Now over to Team Florence for your questions. It was a lovely presentation, Team Drucker Norman. I'd love to take the questions from Team Florence.
Yeah, so I'm going first. My question is, how did you observe the problem? Like, how did you empathize?
Okay, for that I think you're asking the root of thought of observing, right? So we actually tracked some HBR articles, etc. I can't quote one right now because I have bad memory here. So we kind of observed those, read through those articles, and then we checked out the experiences of consultants who share it online. And rather than just seeing the symptoms they present, we try to just take the data points from it.
Okay, back to Team Florence for your follow-up question on that.
So mostly your data is like from online, like, okay. So which platform are you using? Like, where are they uploading these?
We have also seen some articles in LinkedIn where they are showing what are the problems these management consultants are facing. Based on that, we just observe. And also, we have seen some YouTube videos where they are describing that consultants are quitting their job because of high work pressure.
Okay, back to your Team Florence.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
you-
So you are connecting the junior counselors with the senior counselors. Are they of the same field?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Uh,
Okay, go ahead, Aryan.
for the starting stage, to kind of give the junior consultants more help if they are from the same field.
Okay, so won't that be a breach of privacy?
Actually, it's not senior consultants, it's retired consultants also. That's an important point to note. Just
Okay,
wanted to
so
get that clarification.
I had a follow-up question. Why will these senior consultants give you the time? Even after retirement, they might be having their own plans or platforms. Why will they give you the time?
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to go. Okay, you can follow up on that. So, for that, we kind of chose it in this way because we had also observed that some junior consultants who actually want help, they are recommended to request for a course to the senior consultants. But requesting a course, it for both takes time and sometimes also money, and that is the main motivation according to our assumption why they ask you for making a course on it. So that is why.
I'm not sure if you answered the question. Why would a senior consultant give time?
We are offering the pay, like we pay really high, and they're interested to counsel young people.
Okay, Team Florence, you have a follow-up question to that.
How will you get the money to pay them?
It's what the junior consultants pay us. We are providing services for the junior consultants, so they're going to be paying us for those services. And
Back to Team Florence for a question. Yeah, Raman.
So first you are getting consultants, junior consultants. Okay, how you are empathizing with them that use our product.
Raman, before you come in with your question, I thought I'll ask, how can a junior consultant afford to pay the hourly consulting fee of a senior consultant? I mean, senior consultants are insanely expensive.
Yes, so for that, firstly, to clarify, we are not doing it hourly. We have a fixed price of how much they'll pay.
But a senior consultant's time is super expensive. Why would that senior consultant give you that super expensive time slot?
Yes, so I think that our answer would be more related to our marketing. So we will charge them high. That's why so their main goal is to get ahead of the competition. So that group.
Most good senior consultants are overbooked. even after retirement, they do get projects if they don't want to take them. So why would they give you that time? And there's no way you can afford them, right? I mean, they're too expensive to afford them.
Yes, so
Junior consultants are not paid that high. That's the opportunity cost they take in. They take lower salaries in the beginning to start their career. So how can they afford it?
yes, so we'll first start with less known retired consultants, and we'll take
Would that solve
the.
your problem?
Could you repeat?
Would that solve your problem? Would these people be efficient at doing?
Yes, so even if they aren't, okay, I would have a different answer. Then let's
My
say
question is, does money have to be the only incentive to get the senior consultant in?
Would be their interest in helping these junior consultants go by, because they themselves would have gone through those stages. They would have started from the junior consultant, they would have started from those. They know how pressurizing it could be. Could be both. It could be money as a motivation for them to help these people, as well as their own interest.
Like you guys have Yugandhar sir and Anand sir, right? There's no way DT can afford them right now. But they're happy to give time. Thing is, many of the senior consultants have made enough money already. Many of the good ones. So some of them are happy to just give time. And you open LinkedIn and just while searching profiles, you just put pro bono consulting. You'll see a lot of them who put a tick. I'm open for pro bono consulting. Pro bono as in I'm willing to voluntarily give my time without getting paid for it if the cause is worth it. You'll find a good number of LinkedIn profiles which say they're open to pro bono consulting. Maybe you could explore that. Yeah, back to Team Florence for your question.
Then how is the service that you are providing different from any other consulting service community? If people are already volunteering and there is pro bono out there, then why will they take your product or service?
We are providing the experienced senior consultants. The other people are like just maybe they're providing therapies or some wellness programs, some mental health programs, but not exactly some experienced consultants.
No, as Tarun said, right, there are LinkedIn profiles who provide like senior people, senior consultants who provide these services, and even for free because they want to help. So why would they pay you guys and have those services?
yes, I think because we have already mentioned our problem statement, it's about coping up with all these this work pressure, also in a fast manner, so that they can get back to the competition, actual working again. So that's why the data which the senior consultant needs will give exactly that. So if we explore our prototype, it is relating to give the appropriate data the senior consultant wants beforehand.
So he's saying they collect the right data and give the senior consultant. So the data helps the senior consultant in accurately helping the junior consultant, right? So you don't have to waste time in understanding what the problem is. You can directly get in and within 15-20 minutes, add some value to the junior consultant. They try to make the communication effective through data is what this.
So prior
but-
to that, you
yeah.
said you will connect with lesser known senior consultants if that comes to money. So is there any guarantee that from the meeting they'll take away some value? Why will they invest that much of money for a lesser known senior consultant?
In the starting stages, we do tell them that if in the starting stages, we will be in a tight spot when it comes to finances, yes. So we do give the guarantee to these junior consultants that if you're not satisfied with the help that is being provided by the senior consultant, you can always get back to us, or we can
Okay,
you
got
like
it. Back to Team Florence.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question to Aryan's answer. So there are two options, right? One is free service that is available, but it's taking a bit of time, and there is an opportunity cost, right? Because second one is he's paying, but he's getting a bit fast service. So I think the person will choose the free service because even if it's taking time, it's worth it.
Yeah, so they could take it, but in this case, okay, I might be diverting from my answer a little, but we are giving them an already system, and also we are making them portray as, because they are the early users, they get ahead of the competition they already have a lot more faster and efficient manner. So they are a different club of good junior consultants themselves.
Okay, you get ahead of your so these guys would probably bait them into buying the product by saying you'll get ahead of your peers if you take a solution rather than waiting. And he also said they'll form a club of people or paid customers, so you get the network of good junior consultants who subscribe. But I'll go back to the previous question. So Kritika, you mentioned that you'd probably offer a payback, right, in case you're not happy with the service. But what are you doing to ensure that your service is of meets good quality standards? Independent of the quality of the consultant, what are the processes or something you're implementing to make sure that your service meets quality benchmarks?
I'd say that because they are the early consultants, so in the early stage especially, we'll take an approach of questioning both of those, of what kind of problems they are facing, etc. And in the case of retired consultants, what are the views on, let's say, current problems which new generation consultants are facing, and we will try to connect the problems these junior consultants are facing to what kind of perspective these retired consultants already have, and we will join the people with similar problem and good solutions.
Okay, I have one more question. So you spoke of bringing a senior consultant over coffee, right? So don't you, putting the senior junior labels aside, how about an idea of community itself, right? Where you create a community where people are able to help each other through a community. It could be a peer as well who knows a solution, who could empathize or help, right?
I think that can be done in the later stages as we improve and we have a better following of people. But I think initially it's going to be just a limited amount of loyal followers who we're going to be getting. So it's,
But wouldn't peers add more value, and wouldn't peers empathize better? Wouldn't that help you grow your community faster? With a few seniors, all right, but strong peer community.
Yes, we have two reasons for it, like why not. First is because we might have a lot of legal obligations of why are you sharing the data, etc. Because let's say
That you'll still have if you have a senior. That's very simple in terms of signing NDAs, right? And in terms of giving guidelines to consultants of what you can share. That's hardly a problem because every consultant is told by their HR of what they can share and what they cannot share in their platform, in an external platform. So that's hardly a problem because usually good consultants are already debriefed on what you can share, what you cannot share.
okay, then I would directly go to the second reason, because these junior consultants, they have it's kind of also an observation that they admire their seniors a lot, and that's why they are even pursuing to work hard. So why not we bring those seniors to them itself?
Sure, and my other question is, can you not solve this problem by increasing the pool of consultants which are available? Which would, because you said one of the problems is that too few consultants and there's a lot of work and that's why the pressure is high, right? Not just consultants, but consulting firms itself.
Are you telling like consulting firms having a community?
I'm increasing the pool of consultants so that the consulting firms have more consultants and thus the pressure on consultants reduces.
can you repeat it once
But
more?
that means that they have to pay high, like they have to hire more people.
Exactly. So you do something like DT, right? So you empower more people to become a consultant. So today you hire only from IIT, IIM for a consultant, right? If you
Yeah.
employ people from normal colleges to become a consultant, more people become consultants. The salaries may not be as high, but you're more equipped people to do it, which decreases the workload of the whole community as well.
How does that solve the main problem about coping up with stress of working
Because the
hours?
stress itself is reduced with more hands, right? The work is reduced. You don't have to work till 2 a.m. then, right? You more
No,
hands.
but sorry, it creates more competition though, because there's such a huge number of people with a lesser salary. Don't you think it's gonna create more competition within that group itself?
That's okay. They're earning enough already, right?
And also, that's okay. If we are having a discussion, so I could randomly present. So, the reasoning of having small teams by the consultants was mainly because these clients kind of don't have to struggle a lot as such. So, wouldn't that also be kind of
Yes,
have to be on?
the small teams, they have small teams because you have more focus and you can do your projects well. But what if you can cultivate more leadership in these people? So with that leadership, even with a slightly larger team, you're able to deliver efficiently. So a firm which has 20, you might add in 30. A firm which has 50, you might add in another, say 30. A firm which has 500, you might add another, say 50 or 100. And also nurture leadership. So even with a slightly larger team, they're more efficient, right? So that way you cut down on the pressure when there are more hands which can contribute, right? Wouldn't that be a more sustainable solution to your problem?
I think when you, like you said, having a smaller firm where, when you try, when there's a smaller firm, there are usually less problems. Because when you take like huge consulting companies like Deloitte or KPMG and everything, there, I don't think this would be a proper solution because there will be tons of competition in there. So for
Maybe
those,
even there are, I mean, most consulting firms are understaffed, right? Even they're working overtime because they're understaffed. That's what you guys said in the beginning. They're all working overtime.
and being understaffed cannot be the only reason why they're working overtime. It could be that they are actually trying to rise above their competition and that they're giving too much focus on their own jobs because the work environment is so competitive that they want like an upper hand. Could be that could be one of the reasons why they're working for longer hours.
Good point. So then I think, yeah, that needs the counseling bit. But again, you're saying you'll bring senior consultants. So does that mean efficient counseling? The consultant may be good at giving advice, but would that be good counseling? Okay, but I'll have to stop this here in the interest of time. Over to Team Florence for your pitch. But very good point, very good discussion. I think it's an excellent problem that you guys picked, Team Prakarna. And very interesting perspective from Kritika that, yeah, there are multiple dimensions to the problem. Yeah, over to Team Florence.
So our project will be focusing on how to solve the problem of inaccessibility of qualified nurses for in-home care of elderly people. The pie chart here represents the total percentage of older people in the country, and the other two sections represent the percentage of those who live alone or were abandoned. We will try to understand the problems that are faced by them. So from this slide, we get to know that due to the various factors and tight scheduling of family members, they are not able to tend to their elders, and the nurses that are trained and willing to do so can't find these families. So can we provide a common platform that connects both of them? Oh my God.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So, are you someone with elderly at home and are struggling to take care of them because of other commitments, such as work life and also taking care of your children? So, our research aims to make families care for their elderly. And yeah, next slide. Also, are local organizations and nursing homes really a solutions to these problems? can they really deliver people efficiently and on a larger scale? So we are here to solve these problems as well. Over to you, Raman.
Yeah. So after discussion with the team, like we gained some insights, and for these insights, we found that we can have a product that is user friendly, where families can connect with nurses to have specialized skills or experience in taking care of older people, that allows flexibility. Uh, to build such a system, we need review mechanism. We need features like review mechanism and filters that provides flexibility and ease and secure payment gateways. Yeah.
We have two organizations in the same field who can help us for providing spreading awareness about our app and probably collaborating with us in future. We can work on constant improvement through feedback and research, along with gradually gaining their trust. And so, due to the lack of accessibility and connectivity of qualified nurses to the family, that means that we have our project.
Yeah, Team Florence, gentle feedback. I thought the title slide was, I mean, the conclusion was not a conclusion, but a essay in itself. The conclusion slide could have one line or say 2 lines. Right. So yeah, over to Team Norman Drucker for your questions.
I just have a clarification question first. So, while you're having your user experience and all, who is your main customer you are targeting?
It will be families who are not able to give that much of time to the elderlies because of
Yes,
various
who's your
types of
primary stakeholder, the family who's not able to give the care, or the elderly person who's not getting the care?
the elderly person who is not getting the care, but it can be he is living alone also.
And their family also want, but they are not able to because of work conditions.
No, who's the stakeholder? The person who's not able to give the care, or the elderly person?
The elderly person.
Okay.
So medical, again, a clarification, medical help will be provided for these elderly people, right? There will be.
Not exactly medical, but the people, those who are not able to do their basic care like bathing, brushing, due to the lack of mobility, like they cannot move after a certain age, they face various problems for that person. The nurses will take care.
Another question: if within your early users, the elders don't find your service that good or comfortable to them, then how would you solve that situation?
Firstly, we will ask like what problems are they facing, because firstly, to cater to their problems, we must ask what their problems are, and accordingly we will solve the problems.
Okay, but what if it's an assumption first of all, but I'll go with it. So the elders kind of, if they dislike a service or a company which is offering such things, which do not want, like they are not given well service at the first itself, they might not want to experience something from that kind of a company afterwards, right? So how would you solve in that case?
Yeah, see,
When your first impression is so important, how would you deal with that?
see, you have, if you have gone to hospitals, you must have seen that elderly people are always like grumpy old men, old women. So they may not speak much facts, but yeah, the family members will see, and
No,
they
you're
will.
not answering his question. His question:
Yeah.
Can I?
they don't like you in first attempt. Second attempt, they may not even trust you. So how would you deal with that situation? Yes, Shrivi.
Prior to providing our services, we'll make sure that there is an one-on-one interview, that the person who, the nurse and the person whose care is being taken, they interact, and if they like each other's company and the older person thinks that they can work with that, then only they'll continue with the services.
Okay, but still, after the conversation, if they don't kind of have the experience as they expected, then
They can discontinue the service at any moment they like.
You're losing your customer, right? So that is point.
And also there is not only a one nurse available. If the ratings for that nurse is
So I'll
not
go
good,
back to Aryan's next question. I'll mind read in. What if they don't like your 3 nurses? Next. But that is not his question anyway.
so it's like there must be problem with the old man as well, right? Because why is he not liking every nurse as well? There may be a problem, right?
Okay.
We'll try to find the
This
root
is
cause.
this is exactly how not to think if you're a design thinker.
Yeah. While speaking, I just
Yeah, because you're very busy judging the old man.
no. If he's saying all the 3 nurses are like, no, it's not so. Maybe, but yeah.
Okay, would you need some SOPs to help the nurses cope with the people? Are you also bringing some processes, or it is mere matchmaking?
Yeah, sure.
Uh, Yeah, there will be processes. After the man rejects 3 of them, we'll go there. We'll ask the person what is the problem that you saw in all the 3 nurses, and we'll try to improve on that point for
But
each nurse.
would you also have some processes which equip the nurses to know the common problems which most elderly people face? Would that decrease these concerns to a good extent?
Yeah, they will have a complete understanding of what these problems are. We'll make sure that those people are experienced, and while verifying their profiles, medical professionals will
So
also check
that
this.
brings me to my next question. So if you're working with a limited pool of qualified, experienced people, would you be able to cater to the large majority of people who will require this help?
Yeah, it
Would you
will be
increase the pool of these nurses?
these nurses, everyone coming to our platform, we'll verify, and from each region, there will
You're
be.
going on a horrible tangent. You're going on a very horrible tangent. You're not getting my question. If you guys are only focused on experienced qualified nurses, you'll have a limited pool of nurses and you'll have a lot of elderly people to take care of. So how would you expand this pool so that you have more nurses available to you?
Okay, we can start from, okay, Raman, you can.
Yeah, we can connect with nursing homes or hospitals that do provide this kind of service.
Still is a limited pool, right? The world has very limited number of nurses overall. So how would you, the problem of supply?
Yeah, we can hire interns and then we can train them. That can solve the problem.
Okay. Now, if you want to train people who do not have the academic qualification or the prior training, so what kind of work do you think your organization has to do to solve that problem?
The interns that we'll be hiring will be from nursing schools. So
Again, so you're trying to be a broker than a problem solver, right? A broker who does matchmaking between A and B. The problem with a broker solution, is one of the sides is usually imbalanced. And you get limited there due to that imbalance in the market, right? But you want to be a disruptor who can solve the problem. You could increase the supply of this, right? So the more you're able to cater to the demand, which is massive. So what would you do to increase the supply? If you say, I will select qualified people, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to solve the problem.
we'll form a process.
What kind of process?
A process where you hire people with knowledge. If not knowledge, we'll just
Again, you're Shrival, you're going on horrible tangents for the last 5 minutes. You're worried about how to select people. What if the planet doesn't have enough people to be selected out there?
train them.
Exactly. What do you train and how do you train? That becomes a critical question, right?
We can
Selection problem. Is it really a selection problem? Is a question. Yeah, Raman.
Yeah, we can use some experience and skilled nurses, and they can train the newcomers.
How? Just because I'm experienced doesn't mean I can train people well, right?
But they can train them. But they can take sessions on the behaviors of old people, and from there they can get
Possibly the people you're hiring are not that well educated. People who are not that educated are not particularly good at listening to lectures and learning.
A few doctors who have worked in
Okay,
social
so
sector
what
or
exactly is the problem of the consumers? Like, I want to understand the problem. Like, how, like, why are they needing?
Problem of the consumer, you yourself said in your slides, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're asking
No.
me your team's
No.
question, but I'm happy to answer
No,
it.
no, no,
Okay?
no,
The
no.
problem is they're not able to move, they're not able to brush, they're not able to bath, and so on. They need someone to help them, right?
Yeah, and
You are
we are
saying you
providing.
get qualified nurse from some goddamn nursing school. But I'm saying those nursing schools are very few.
Yeah.
So how do you increase the supply?
So first we may like cater to small people, small amount of people. Then with time we will.
But they're already getting nurses.
What?
or
Sorry.
there can be a few
The
doctors
small
from
group are already getting nurses.
But the nurses are like they charge a lot of money as compared to them. We will charge less.
So Santa Claus is giving you money, so you lower the price.
No. See what happens
In
is.
your case, they have to pay your platform fee and they have to pay the nurse ka fee. If they go to a nurse directly, they pay the nurse. What is the value addition that you are doing?
Yeah, so there are local institutions, as we said, so they provide these services, but since there are less local, so like less local organizations, they like they monopolize the thing and charge.
Why will those nurses even collaborate with you? You hear what you're speaking. You're saying these guys end up monopolizing.
Yeah.
And they're charging
the-
more. So when they're charging 500 rupees, you charge 200. Why will they even partner with you? Your supply is those people.
No, I'm saying the local organization will charge.
My dear friend, no, you're going on a horrible tangent. That local, okay, so who's your nurse? Who's your nurse?
See, there's nurse, then there's
Who's your
local.
nurse? Who's your nurse? Who's the nurse providing to the patient? I mean, to the elderly person.
The nursing homes, nurses, and also nurses who are
Nursing homes
willing
nurses
to
already
work
in
but
the
are
free
not.
market, no.
And also nurses who are willing to work but they are not getting.
Why are they not getting?
Underemployment.
No, but
There are, yeah.
But you yourself are saying there is enough demand, so they'll be able to connect with someone, right?
If there, so that's why we are here. Now we are connecting the nurses who are underdeveloped and the people who want it. So there may be a loss of connection between them. So we are connecting them.
Okay, what if a Naukri.com just adds this layer tomorrow? What will you do?
We won't launch. Yeah, we won't launch our product on a large scale initially. We will so this way we can handle the supply.
My question is, what is the value that you are adding in the system? Except for introducing A to the B, what is the value that you're adding here? If your only value is matchmaking, a Naukri.com or some Practo or somebody who's in the space can also do it easily.
Naukri.com won't make sure that the person, like all the questions, asking their experience, making sure that the nurses.
Practo can do that. Practo is already doing matchmaking with doctors. They can take feedback. They already have the infrastructure to take the feedback and work on the feedback. What is the value addition that you guys are doing? Taking feedback is very basic. I mean, you already have boilerplates available out there and you just plug and play and you have the technology to take feedback. You don't even have to write your own code. You get widgets and plugins, use them and you can get feedback. What is the value addition that you guys are doing?
Providing nurses which are trusted.
That's
and
what
also,
I'm saying. That anyone can do, na? Just matchmaking. There's A, there's B, you're introducing them. That anyone can do. What is the value addition that you're doing other than matchmaking?
if someone is doing only matchmaking, let's say, they are not empathizing with the family
By
members, right?
empathizing, what are you doing, man? By empathizing, what are you doing? You're empathizing, all right, but what is the value addition you're doing with that empathizing?
Uh,
See, you're converting this into a school elocution competition where you're throwing some fancy words with no clarity whatsoever. My question is, what is that value in your product other than matchmaking? I don't see any value other than matchmaking.
Also, the doctors, we can bring in doctors who have worked in some social sectors or caregivers from NGOs to actually help those people who are willing to help the older people to practice.
How?
Yeah.
How will the doctor help this nurse?
Not the nurse, the people who are willing to take care of the older people.
So how will the doctor help these willing people?
Like teach them to how to take the proper care. Like not every other.
How will they teach
human
them?
being
How will they teach them?
by some experience in old age homes, they can
I'm
have
sorry,
some
this is
experience.
again like a school elocution competition answer, right? You're saying this will happen. How it will happen? Santa Claus will come and say hi and it will just happen. There has to be a process to it, right? Today, a lot of these mobile apps fail because they just assume these things and the core processes are not figured out. And this is something I saw in both the projects, right? You identified a problem really well, which is nice. You identified a solution idea, but have you thought a little deeply in terms of how you will implement that solution? And that comes when you deeply understand the problem, right? Like in the management consultant space, you said I'll get a senior consultant to talk to the junior consultant, but that doesn't solve the problem by itself. What are they going to talk? How are they going to talk? How is it structured? Over 6 months, what is going to happen? What is the real problem? You said one real problem is they overwork because they're scared of competition. So are you going to have some session which helps them go beyond competition and understand, what their career is going to look like, right? So how can they maintain work-life balance? So are you thinking of some reflection drills or something around that? So if you know that is your problem, how are you going to take that? Just talking to a senior consultant doesn't solve that problem, right? They'll still go and work till 2 o'clock. So you may want to think about that problem. So I think when you understand your problem really well, you'll then be able to come up with ideas. Like when you're saying you connect a nurse, some of these nurses don't get opportunities because they're not capable. You're saying I'll train, but the point is these people are not good at classroom way of learning. See, I was trying to communicate this to you for 10 minutes and you didn't get it. The same thing happens to the nurse. You teach orally, they don't get it. So you've got to have a hands-on course or some mechanism through which they'll actually learn it. What is that mechanism is where your IP lies, right? Like if I have to park both the dialogues aside and look at DT, right? DT says today, you're depending on senior software developers to code. But if I can get younger folks to code, that'll reduce the load on the senior developers and your budgets will also get reduced. And to tell you something funny, one of our client has a vendor. So this client we replace that vendor with a team and that team is reduce the cost to the vendor. Now the vendor has got in touch with us to reduce his own costs also through our service. So where we said, okay, we'll get more hands to the table and that will decrease your costs and increase your efficiency. But for that, what is DT doing? Doing a Socratic dialogue like this so that because we realized many of the interns are unable to contribute because they don't ask the right questions. So you do a Socratic dialogue so they ask the right questions. Some of them have confidence issues. So you do an LDI so people can develop their confidence issues, people can develop their interest in leadership. Do a work reflection each day so that they can have day-to-day improvement. So how are you understanding the problem very deeply so that you can solve that problem? The superficial answers are not going to solve the problem, right?
I think if training the nurses is the case, right? So what we can do, we can ask some elderly people to get in contact with these nurses, and we can observe them for a certain period of time, and from there we can figure out that the person is able to do this.
Along with you, would you want some really good nurses also on your advisory board?
Yeah.
Now, this is how a design thinker would approach it. You may not have an answer today, but this is a great approach. Saying, I want to stalk that nurse, I want to stalk that elderly person and see what is going on. So then I'll know what the problems are, then I'll know how to solve them. Fantastic.
And this way we can get the insights and we can use frameworks so that, those unemployed people can use that framework to overcome from this kind of thinking.
Amazing, amazing. Now you're democratizing that nurse profession, right? You're opening it up to more people.
Yeah.
And that way you create employment for unemployed people and you create care for the elderly people and you ask government to sponsor it. Because on one hand, government takes care of employment generation. On the other hand, government takes care of elderly people. And when you provide employment to some of these guys, that reduces your Naxalism, terrorism, robbery, and all these activities because you're engaging your youth. Government would want to spend, but the question is, okay, I'm willing to spend, but is this going to work? You as an agency say, I'll make it work. Spending money is the easiest thing. Matchmaking is the easiest thing, but helping this person solve the problem efficiently is the tougher thing. And that's where I think Raman's approach can help find a product to solve that problem efficiently. You guys have not seen this opportunity, right? That there's a huge demographic dividend in India, which is unemployed. But that can be the pool that you guys can harness, right?
But how will we approach them?
Government will give you them. They register to the government for employment, no?
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Politicians will be very happy to support this. Think of the number of votes they'll get. On one side, the elderly people are getting the care, are the voters. On the other side, the unemployed youth are getting a job, are voters. Any politician would love the goodwill on both the sides. The goodwill of youth and the goodwill of elderly people is amazing goodwill to get. Just go 1 year, just go 3 months before they, not 3 months before they're not allowed to approve. Go 6 months before and you are their election manifesto. I did this, I'll do more of this, vote for me. The toughest thing, the distribution wouldn't be tough because a politician can help you, a political party can help you, an NGO can help you, government can help you, so many people can help you. But that one thing which all these players cannot do is what Raman just said, right? Do that research, understand what the problems are, develop your frameworks, do an L&D around those frameworks, assess that L&D and see if it's efficient or not, and make it work. The product creation of how you train them and the management with the help of the product of how you manage this whole process to solve the problem is the tougher piece. That's where maximum value creation can happen, right?
Yeah, this way everyone gets happier and employment.
Exactly. Government is happy because there are less complaints about you not taking care of the elderly people. There are less complaints of you not creating enough jobs for the youth. Elderly people are happy, youth are happy. The employed section which is not able to take care is also happy. This is how you understand the problem deeply and solve it rather than just give elocution speeches, right? Do more homework, dig up each problem, use the Toyota 5 Eyes technique, right? Of questioning that 5 times. So we'll stop it here. I'd love to hear your reflections of what are your takeaways at the end of the dialogue. What are your reflections, right? What did you realize about design thinking at the end?
I would like to go first. The concept of design thinking, no matter what the problem is, or how short or how big problem is, design thinking fits everywhere. Yeah. And we can use it to find solutions.
Yeah, but what did you realize through today's dialogue about how to implement, or some blind spots that you realized today, which will help you implement design thinking better next time?
coming up with those frameworks, coming up with those frameworks, because these are the main things while we are approaching a problem, because these are the things that are solving the problem. And most of the time people do not think of these. As you said, we are just acting as a broker, right, in between two people, but we are not coming with those frameworks that add value to the society.
Exactly. Instead of connecting with the solution provider,
Yeah.
we actually form the solution so the solution provider can be more efficient at giving the solution. That's where your technology adds more value, right? Then instead of tech, you're producing deep tech, which is research-driven tech. Yeah. Thank you, Raman. Who's going next?
Yeah, I kind of have 4 insights.
Sure, please go ahead.
So my first one was like a misconception. So I actually had created this roadblock for myself that the solvability of a problem comes first, and then I'll find the solvable root problem. But like reflecting again, I kind of think like if we find the root problem first, so we are anyways going to see which one is solvable when we are ideating, and there we can have more ideas coming in as compared to just seeing in the solvable domain. My second
Brilliant, brilliant. I think Aryan, what you're trying to say is while picking a problem, you tried to pick a problem which is solvable and constrained yourself. You're saying instead I'll list all my problems first, all my root problems first, and then while ideating, I'll figure out which one I can solve, which one I can't. So exactly, that's why design thinking takes you in that flow. Brilliant, Aryan. Go for your second one.
Yeah. My second one was again that if we are solving a problem which we are not there aware about right now, so like how Raman sir said, so rather than finding a solution which we already have, so we could do two things. First, that we research current solutions, so that comes in benchmarking. But the other thing is that we apply the solutions, like obviously after doing homework and all, we apply the solutions directly and see like how they react to it. And the third insight is kind of mixed with it actually. So in this case, we identify the whole system of how it's happening, and we bridge all of those, which leads to my fourth insight, which is a negative of that in this case it sometimes becomes like we try to go easy on ourselves and become like a broker. But yeah, obviously then going to again to the second insight, you can try out the first insight without constraints. So it's kind of like a flow, how you have design thinking, that you go through these 4 steps. Yeah.
You go through the loop again and again. You iterate fast, make mistakes fast, learn fast, evolve fast. Wonderful insight, Aryan. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful insights, rather. Yeah. Who's going next?
Yeah, I'm going in. So understanding the problem statement is super important. I realized because I got confused in the middle a bit. So understanding and taking time to understand what the problem statement is very important.
Thank you, Amaditya. Who's going next?
I would love to go. It's like I have some personal things also. Like I found that in Meta ISD I was not that much responsible, and here I'm like active listener, and I felt responsible to answer and listen. And the other thing is when Tarun is asking questions, I was like, I know the answer I want to tell, but it's again like he'll ask some more difficult questions from this one. What if we blank out? So I was like, not to provoke him or something. And then about the reflections of the design thinking, it's like, we first came up with the solution and we worked on the solution, and then we created the problem statement. We went like some reverse, which is totally reverse. And also the thing is that we do not think about creating value for the whole world. For India, you said we can have this end this Naxalite something, and we can develop more democracy, politicians. We do not even think in a big dimension. We always went in narrow thinking, only just up to some small solutions for the problems.
And you provoke me, I can throw more opportunities at you, right? You might, so it's okay to not have an answer to the question, but it's not okay to not have that question, right?
Yeah.
You want that question which is helping you get one step closer towards a better solution. That's where Socratic dialogues can be fantastic, because can you have a Socratic dialogue with yourself every day? Provoke yourself every day. That's when you expand yourself. Want to provoke yourself from tomorrow?
I will.
Super. Who's going next?
I'll go next. From design thinking, what the product that we here presented, we were thinking on very superficial lines. We actually also made an assumption that there are more nurses out there. There was a lack of research. We could have gone in more depth and asked ourselves more about it. About the actual field research, design thinking teaches us that we have to go into the root. You cannot really assume things, and how about the framework. And also, as Charishma mentioned, it was after you questioned us so much and you went into the frame of there are politicians out there willing to helping us. That's the point when I realized, okay, the product that we are saying, it's an amazing solution, but we need more of an insight the way we are thinking into it. It was a very narrow approach.
So can we then say that in design thinking, we would want to be questioned more by different players? That when we do our projects as well, can we show our projects to more people? In DeepCode, anywhere we have observers coming in. So can we utilize that opportunity to show our projects to people, especially the curious ones, and ask them to grill us?
Yeah, because also we were just prepared to answer any question from the other team. The factor that you will be there and you will be asking us so many questions, that was just, we didn't just consider that.
Oh, so which means we want, so in design thinking, we would want players with reputation of questioning, and that automatically improves the quality of the preparation before one goes into the questioning zone. Okay, this is a very interesting insight for me. So, and see, as a design thinker, you always have your eyes and ears open, right? So one thing which I'm taking away from here is we're going to create 3 different breakout rooms on our Zoom link called Grilling Zone 1, Grilling Zone 2, Grilling Zone 3. And anyone who wants to get grilled can just walk into that room. So any observer or somebody who's just frustrated with work, wants to go grill, can go to Grilling Zone 1, 2, 3. But Grilling Zone 1, we select who can go in and who can't go in. No entry will be written there. So only those people with reputation on the rigor builder will be allowed to go into Grilling Zone 1. So you use the rigor builder enough and you build the reputation in the rigor builder, you go to Grilling Zone 1. So somebody who's going into Grilling Zone 1 is probably going to prepare well enough to go there. Or you finish Grilling Zone 3, 2, then one of these places, then you go to Grilling Zone 1 when you gain confidence. Or somebody who really wants to, take the questions without feeling bad, to accept it as process and say, hey, I'm grateful for the questions, can go into Grilling Zone 1, and we can have people with reputation of questioning over there. So you see, right, if you're a design thinker, you're constantly doing that synthesis. You understand your problem space well. Then when an insight presents itself to you, you immediately can connect that insight to your problem and solve it. So your solutions can come in odd moments, can come in any random moment. But so when the solution is at your door, you've got to be able to welcome the solution in, right? But if you want to welcome the solution in when the solution is at your door, it's probably important to understand your problem space well, because only when you understand your problem space well, you'll be able to recognize a solution. I was able to recognize a solution that you guys could evolve through questioning. Because I understood my problem space well. What I'm trying to do for the student unicorns in the Zoom meet. Yeah, Aryan.
There's a lot of background noise. Are you able to hear me clearly? Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
One question was that if we kind of iterate in okay, even I can't think of the question with this noise. I write that in chat.
Okay, so you're thinking if we iterate, we'll go on tangents or? Okay, anyway, in the interest of time, we'll move on. Who wants to go next? Raman is done, Charishma is done, Aryan is done, Stevel is done. Mohammed is also done.
So after this, I think my view of design thinking has slightly changed. The way of thinking is slightly changed, I would say, because when I was initially working on it, I was only focused. Benchmarking was a huge distraction for me, actually, for some reason. I only kept focusing on how to optimize the solutions and how to optimize it, make it better and better. But rather, I failed to focus on the root problem itself. I feel like that was how you can address the root problem and how you can actually create the value. That was something that I lacked, I believe, but this has given me a much better insight, idea of how I can think a little differently from home. I feel like that was a limiting factor for me.
Thank you, Kritika. Who's going in next?
Okay, I can go next. So I think we one thing I realized was that often we sort of approach the problem with like these specific sort of views or opinions in our mind, and sometimes it's very important to like go through that research phase or like have that grill time where there are so many different kind of questions that are being asked, and like whatever approach you were taking, that might come into questioning, and you might think of the problem statement in a very different way than you originally did. So like those all having like it's important in that research phase to go in this amount of depth that you're able to like let go of your preconceived notions and be able to approach that problem differently. So I think people are afraid to do that a little bit because they try to stick to what they know, but it's I think design thinking is one way to like get out of that.
And by the way, your management consultants are in demand because they try to have that breadth and they try to bring these questions into the business, which the original client company may not be able to bring in. Yeah. Who's going next?
Yes, so my reflection would be based on how we actually skipped the problem statement every time it came to the slide, and we just focused on the solution, how to better the solution, how to have better ideation, but we skipped the most important part. So that was something. And another is we come up with answers when we are not in the hot seat, and someone else is in the hot seat and I'm watching and I have the answers, but if I was in their place, I would probably not have it. So that's, yeah.
So with this again, gives me a solution because I think your statement had a problem, but I mean, you look at your statement, it sounds like a problem, but if I actually think about it carefully, you actually gave a solution. You said if you're in the hot seat, you don't think of solutions, and if you're not in the hot seat, you think of solutions. So then the problem statement is, how can you make sure that you come up with solutions while you're in the hot seat? So then for me, I think the solution is in putting the person in the hot seat for a lot of time. But then the question is, how do you create that hot seat for a lot of time? Then you just let two people go take turns where one is in the hot seat, or three people go and take turns. One is in the hot seat, one is grilling, and the other is watching. And they keep getting into the hot seat, three of them. And over a period of time, when you get exposed so much, the hot seat is no longer hot. You put an AC underneath and sit on it, like Aryan said. They'll ask question, I'll give answer. They'll ask question, I'll give answer. They're not happy with my answer, they'll ask one more question. I'll give one more answer. They're not happy, I'll give one more. They're happy, they'll ask one more. I'll also give one more. The process goes on. Where you're not worried about the result, you're more worried about the process, right? You're more worried about the quality of the process. Where Aryan is worried, no, is this fellow going to ask me a good question? If he's not asking me a good question, how do I evolve my solution? Where is the other way around, right? Where you're like, I hope people ask me good questions. So I was thinking maybe we can develop this kind of a drill, right? So it was a great experience, and thank you for coming up, working hard on your presentations, and I think it's only due to your efforts in your presentation that we were able to have a nice dialogue. Good night, everyone. Thank you for your efforts. It's very great.